everybody. Welcome to Planet NOLA, the podcast where we talk to people who are doing cool things in New Orleans. Well, at least people married things are doing cool things in New Orleans. I am your guest host, Donnie Marie. As you can guess, I am not Mary Jacob. She's on the other side of the sofa. But I have infiltrated her space to put her in the hot seat and interview Mary. Hey, Mary.
Hi, Don. I'm so glad you're guest hosting Planet NOLA.
I forced you to let me do this.
It was such a good idea. I was like, oh, please, you're going to interview me?
Oh, my God. How can I ever find the time? So, to give you a proper intro, our guest today is Mary Jacobs, a multi-hyphenate, amazing creator here in New Orleans. I've known Mary for too many years, and so in the years that I've known Mary, she has been a photographer. She's played bass guitar. She has, she secondhand thrift shops.
Yeah.
She's an actor, an improv actor. She's also a writer, a director. How many more things do you do?
Oh my God, I've never heard them all listed out.
And she's the host of this podcast that you've been listening to. So thank you for listening, number one. And shout out to Mary for having too many damn hobbies.
Yeah. Also small business owner.
Business owner. Yeah, she owns a gym.
I do too much.
You do a lot of things.
Yeah.
You do.
Dawn and I, we know each other because we went to high school together, and we both have J last names. And so when we first started going to school together, we were always next to each other in lines, or like if we were in the same class, we would be next to each other because of the way they set up the chairs. So like we just got close because we were always next to each other for math and for all kinds of things.
And we also did drama together.
We did do theater together. Yeah.
I was one of the only black people there.
You were one of the only black people. Not the only one though.
For a while.
Jasmine Johnson.
Yeah, but then Jasmine couldn't do it. And then for the next 3 years, it was just me.
Was it? Oh my God, you're right, huh?
And fun fact.
It's funny because Cabrini isn't that white, but Drama Club was white.
White.
Yeah.
We did a lot of white plays. Here's a fun fact for everyone in the audience. Me and Jasmine Johnson do not look alike in any stretch of the imagination.
No.
She's much taller than me. She's much thinner than me. She's much lighter than me. However, one of the Emily Johns.
I knew this was going to come up.
Emily John somehow thought we were the same person. This happens all the time with black people. White people get confused. Especially if they're in the same place. You're like, yeah, that's the same black girl. And so she wrote my name as Dawn Johnson and had to put quotes around it because she thought I was Jasmine Johnson.
Yeah. Or she just thought you guys had opposite last names.
She thought we were the same person.
She might have. I really don't know.
She thought we were the same
I
person.
just genuinely think she thought both of your last names were Johnson, which is also racist in its own way.
Racism is what I'm trying to point out, Mary Jacobs.
Yeah.
But yeah, so
sometimes we call Dawn Johnson Jefferson.
Yes, and
even though that's not her name.
And also we're just saying my full name on the internet.
That's okay. They can know you.
It's fine.
They should know you.
Do you know me, people? While Mary is interviewing so many amazing people in New Orleans about all the cool things they do, we don't really get to, when you're interviewing someone, you can hear like bits and pieces like,
right.
Oh yeah, I'd like to do this, or I've done this before.
I always feel really guilty talking about myself during the podcast. Not ever any other time.
Oh, okay.
But during the podcast.
Girl, I've known you for almost 20 years. You talk about yourself all the time.
It's true. I really do. And people that listen to this podcast definitely hear me. But when I'm interviewing someone, I try really hard to like keep it on whatever story they're on.
Yes.
And I'll tell similar stories, but
yes.
I always feel guilty afterwards. I'm like, I shouldn't talk about myself.
Oh my God. Well, guess what? You don't have to feel guilty right now.
Yes.
We'll talk about you this whole time.
Wow. This is like a dream come true for me. This is the most Leo day of my life.
Oh my God.
Dawn's already regretting her choices.
I made a choice.
Literally, you volunteered.
I volunteered. Yeah. I was like, Mary, oh my God.
I have a great idea.
Just sitting in my house. I'm going to text Mary Jacobs. Mary Jacobs, would you like for me to interview you on your own podcast?
Exactly. This is why you're a good friend, though, because you knew that I would be like, hell yeah.
Yes.
So Riley is here too. If you see her, if you're watching on YouTube, you'll see Riley. She might or might not settle down. We'll all be okay though.
She's just like hearing sounds, but she's chill.
Yeah, she'll be all right.
Riley, Mary found Riley.
Yeah, I found Riley on the street.
Out here in Gentilly, Gentilly. And then the next day I got Riley, and I had Riley for 7 years.
7 years.
And then
Dawn moved to the concrete jungle, which not New York.
Not no one calls it that.
I know. Well, that's what people call New York, but you're in LA. You're in
I
LA.
Moved to Los Angeles.
Yeah.
And my girl was just so used to me being home. Well, not really. I left
You were
her.
working like long days.
Yeah, I remember long days here, but I left her here for 6 months.
Yeah.
And then when I brought her there, she was like, "You're leaving again."
Yeah.
And then so Mary graciously took her back to New Orleans, and then the pandemic happened. I was like, "Could have had my damn dog this whole time."
Yeah, but she's mine now. Look at her. She's a little princess.
She's only in here because
she also, my dog is referred to literally as princess by my entire family. So she's like,
baby girl.
Might as well have a throne at this point. You know what I mean?
She's
like
a diva.
She's got it made.
Anyway, we can talk about Riley for a long time
We
because
really
she's
could.
great.
I could do a whole episode on Riley.
I can do lots of deep dives. Riley knows all my secrets.
Yeah, for sure.
She knows everything about me. Any hoodles. So I'm the kind of person that makes notes.
I love it. Please, yes, whatever you need to do.
It says Mary Podcast on it.
Aww, I love it.
So we've known each other since we were about 14.
Mm-hmm.
And we're in our 30s.
Yeah, I'm 29.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Keep going.
Sure.
I'm 29 until I'm 50, and then I'll be 30.
Okay. Cool. I will be 32, but I don't know how that math works.
Yeah, it's interesting.
I've known Mary
I'm only 29. It's weird that we went to school together, same grade and everything.
Same year and everything. Oh my God.
I was just like really smart or whatever for my age. You know, they accelerated me or something.
They were like, oh my God, that Mary Jacobs, she has a brain. Let's bring her up 5 grades. I'm not doing math. But yeah, so we've known each other through many iterations of each other. I mean, we've known each other both back when we had bad hair and glasses, and neither of us have those things anymore.
Yeah, I was like always trying to straighten my hair. You were too. We were both like straightening our hair.
Relaxed.
Yeah, your hair was mad relaxed. You were going like every week.
2 weeks, maybe.
Every 2 weeks.
Calm down.
Okay, I remember it being a thing. Every 2 weeks might as well be every week when you're in high school. That's like a commitment.
It's a commitment. But yeah, I've known you through so many iterations of who you are, and I've seen you grow in so many ways. So I just want to start off saying I'm very proud of you.
Oh, Dawn. I'm really proud of you too. I mean, I think that's all same very much true for you. We could do a whole other episode on your life and everything you've accomplished.
I don't live here anymore.
Well, it's okay. You're still, but I'm just saying, like, thank you so much. That means a lot.
Of course. You do so many things. You're also a very selfless person. You're a very determined person.
Thanks, buddy.
And so I think that's some things I would like to talk about. Mary has been pretty much the same person since I've known her. Always very headstrong, very determined, like I said. Very quick with the wit. Very loving and very much blunt.
Blunt, yeah, blunt's
She's
a good
blunt
word.
lady.
I'm blunt.
Yeah. But those are the things I love about her. So I just had to get that out the way.
Love you, buddy. That means a lot.
I don't want to make you cry.
No, it means it's nice to hear. You know, I will say that one of my favorite things about this podcast is it like really gives me an opportunity to like compliment people and like because sometimes people will be like, "Why do you want me on?" And I'll be like, "This is why I want you on." And then like the first thing I say when they're here is all the things that I think are great about them, so that the audience knows what they're getting into. Yeah. It's like nice to be able to sit down and like have a real moment, like with people that I've never said to them, "Hey, what you do is really cool," and I'm like really interested, and I'm proud of you, or like not proud, but like I'm impressed, or like thank you, or whatever. So thanks for that, bud.
You're welcome. I know you need my validation.
I do. I need a lot of it.
Just mine personally.
Yes,
no one else is. Kristen who. But you, in knowing you for so long, like you are one of the most New Orleans people that I know.
Oh, stop. Now I'm gonna cry.
But no, you are one of the most New Orleans people that I know. So like, you know, give me a little bit of your lineage. What is your New Orleans lineage, Mary?
Oh my God. Okay, so I say that I'm half Asian. Wow. No, I'm half Cajun, half Yat. So I'm a Yat and Cajun. My mom is from Convent, Louisiana, and so her family has got more Cajun, like come from Canada, Acadiana roots, you know. And then my dad is 3rd generation, so I'm 4th generation in New Orleans, and specifically Gentilly, where I live now. So like he grew up a lot in the East, but before that he was living in Gentilly, and then like his parents, grandparents. So like I'm a Gentilly girl, and so yeah, half Yat, half Cajun. I mean, I'm like, what else could I say about it? I don't know. I like to say I'm a lil Yat.
A little Yat?
A lil Yat.
I mean, I've met both of your parents.
Yeah, my dad is a big Yat.
He is a big Yat.
Yeah.
He's like, he calls me Dawn.
Dawn. Yeah, that's so real.
And your mom says Mary, which is how I call you Mary.
Mary.
Yeah, no, you are a very, very big Yat. But you're New Orleans, like, I mean, you are a New Orleans person through and through.
That means, what do you mean when you say that? Like, first of all, tell me more.
I mean, there's a certain amount of pride that you have, which I do want to talk about too. But like, there's a certain amount of pride that you have being from New Orleans. Like, I'm okay. I'm from here, born and raised. I mean, I know she said we went to high school together, which is
I think it makes it obvious.
But you got
you got to tell them you're from here.
You got to tell people, get that cred. These transplants.
Anyway, they need to know. They need to know.
Like, yeah, I'm from New Orleans. Tell them you're like, oh, I've been there for like 2 years, girl.
The city has gotten a lot of new people too. Right now, it feels like we're having an even bigger influx than ever before. Anyway, we don't talk about that.
We'll get there later.
Yeah.
It looks very different.
It does.
No, but like, making a home here, making sure to make community here, give back to your community here. Yeah, and like wanting to live your life here and like truly flourish here is what makes you like one of the most nuanced people I know. And like it's like the first thing that you come out of the gate saying about yourself, which is I feel like a lot of people. So here's my thing about people in their New Orleans identity. I think a lot of people, especially for people like us who had to live through the storm, we had to go to other places where people were like, New Orleans. And it's dirty there.
Right.
And then so we're like, no, I am from New Orleans.
Super proud.
We're super proud.
Yeah, it definitely happened at a really formative time for us. And I think that I never really thought about it like that, but you're totally right. Like, I think that Katrina was like, it happened when I was like, you know, a teenager, when your identity is really, really starting up. Mm-hmm. And it was like such a point of pride to be able to come home. Like, coming home, like, I remember being horrible to people, being like, you're not coming back. Like, you know, and I regret that obviously, but like, in my brain, I was like, there's no other choice. Like, it's our home. Like, and, you know, everyone, there was this rhetoric around Katrina, of course, that it was like proud to call it home in like this really aggressive way. Rebuild, you know, resiliency. Like, yeah, there was this huge narrative push that like we must return, we must rebuild. And like, yeah, maybe that's like really why I'm so obsessed.
I think that's why
I always joke that people are trauma bonded to this city.
We are.
Yeah.
We are very much trauma bonded to the city. And it's like, another example of how you're one of the most nuanced people I know. A lot of people leave the city. Like I, for instance, left. But I left as an adult. You left to go to college, but you still came back.
Oh, yeah, I came
You didn't leave again.
No.
You like, you know, you
moved
moved to the compound.
You know, I went to Philly for college, or outside of Philly, and then I moved to Philly for 1 year after college. And I was like, maybe I'll stay up here. And like the second I really needed community, I was like, oh, I don't have a community here. Not really. Because in college, you don't really do any work to build a community. You know, you're just like living your life and partying.
You're just around people. So
it's not, you're not really doing the groundwork to like build community. And I didn't really realize that. And then the second I was feeling like I needed help or needed community, you know, like I got in a car accident. I was like, oh, I have no one to call. I was like, oh yeah, like I don't really have people here, you know? And so, yeah, I was like, I'm getting out of here. Like, what am I doing? You know, like, why am I up here? It's cold. Like, the people are mean as hell. Like, so I was happy to get out of there.
Yeah, and you're a very, like, talented person. You could have just moved to New York.
That's true, but I'm too cheap to live in New York. I mean, really, that's
also
what
makes you very New Orleans.
Yeah, it's
like,
true. I'm too frugal,
here.
Man. I'm like, I love New York so much, but those rents, I would live in a closet, and I was like, no, I don't want to live in a closet in New York. I can just go home, and I never even considered living in New York. It's just too much on top of each other.
Yeah, it snows.
Yeah,
that's my main reason.
It's too cold.
Yeah, my New York coworkers, why don't you move? Girl, it snows there.
And people are mean. I don't like all the meanness.
People are mean in New Orleans. No, people are mean in LA too.
Yeah, I know. Trust me, I know. I visited you many times. Yeah, it's but LA people are funny mean. Like, I think it's funny that they think they're better than me, because like, you're not.
Like, I have an identity. I have a personality.
Yeah,
I know who I am.
The coolest thing about me isn't that I'm from LA, like, or that I live in LA. Like, the people in not you obviously, but there's like this like weird thing where people are like so LA.
Yeah, it's very strange.
And it's like, what is being so LA? I could tell you what being so New Orleans is, you know, but being so LA is like vanity.
Right.
Like,
it's but like, no, I'm from LA.
You get, what's it called when someone like looks you up and down really quick? It's called checked or something. There's like a name, like checking. You just get checked out. In LA, you'll like walk down the street and people will like scan you really quickly and decide if you're a threat really fast. Like, I felt that happening to me all the time.
We're not very threatening. We smell a lot.
Yeah.
I remember one time, me, Jai, and Shayna went to New York, and somebody was like, you know, y'all smell too much. And we're like, excuse us for being happy. Oh my God.
Who's ever been told you smile too much?
I don't know. Remember that time I dated that boy? He told me I was too nice. That's why we broke up. Anyway.
Forget that guy. He was wrong.
Him. But I think another thing that I find very interesting is that you are a person that does many arts. Lots of arts. So that's it. Earlier, some photography, theater, writing, this podcast, for instance. And all those things are influenced by the fact that you are from New Orleans. And like, do you feel like is that just naturally happens, or do you think that's just because it's who you are? Well, I guess that's kind of, or do you think that is it like purposeful, is it intentional?
Yeah, I think like I'm still kind of coming to terms with like who I am as an artist, and I think I have this like innate thing where I need to perform. And
no.
Yeah, I know, right? It's so surprising. But it's interesting because it's like, for example, today was the Crescent City Classic, and this isn't like a performance, but like I was alone watching everyone in our gym run, and I was out there for like an hour by myself, and so I cheerleaded for strangers for a straight. I'm so tired right now for a straight hour, and I had jokes, like I had a routine I would do. I had like the same like 10 phrases that were all like I'd be like, I don't know why you're doing this, but good job, or I'd be like, ice cold beverage of your choice at the end. Like I just had like little bits, and I would be like, I'm so proud of you. And I'd be like, I'm your mom now. And I was like performing for
I'm your mom married.
Yeah, like I was telling them I was proud of them, like, and I was standing like at the last mile basically, like they had to go over a hill, and then I was there. I was like the only little hill there is. And so like they're really about to be done with it, and everyone that came over that hill is like beat. So I was like, I'm gonna make everybody happy. And so I was just doing bits, like performing for people and making them laugh, and I was having so much fun. And it's like I think that being a performer is like a desire to be seen, and like I get that's part of who I am. It's like I have this desire to be seen and understood, but also just like I have such a deep desire to like connect with people. And like even like when I was taking pictures, it was like I was taking pictures of bands I really liked it, and it was like a way that I could participate in the scene I was in and give something to that scene. And yeah, I don't know. And like theater too. Theater, like when I was writing plays, it was very much about like connecting with people. Like the best part of one of my like Cicada, the best part of that show was how many people came up to me afterwards and were like, did you write this about me? Like people that I knew that were thinking that it was about them. And like that part of art makes me like never ever want to stop making art. Because when people can see themselves in what you're saying, like, and that's what comedy is too. Like when people laugh at a joke, it's because they can see themselves in the joke. Like I'd be like, I don't know why you're doing this, and then they laugh at themselves because they're like, I don't know why I'm doing this. Yeah, you know. Yeah, and so it's like real like connection, you know. So I don't know. I just have this like, I just want to perform all the time. Like I can't help it. Like
I think New Orleans is a performing kind of place too. Like everything's kind of always a show. You go to a parade, the people walking in the parade's a show. The people on the side of the parade's a show because they dance into the music, or they playing their own music, and they doing performances. They like throwing bees back and forth to each other.
It's like compulsive. Like when I hear a band play, I'm like, I'm going to move my body.
Right. Everybody is part of the experience. And I think that's just, I guess, very New Orleans.
It is. It's like this.
To make like we're all running this marathon, and now we're all gonna like and do it together. We're all gonna like feel the thing together. There are Midsommar of us, you know. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
all cry together.
It's an interesting thing, man. Like the connection that you can have with people at any level of art or just experience is something that's like so freewheeling in New Orleans because people come here knowing like it's a quote unquote party town. Yeah. But like what happens when people party? Like usually they're drinking, and so their guards are down. Well, like I'm very rarely, I wasn't drinking today, and I was like, my guard was completely down, and I was just able to be in the moment. And like that's a really special thing here. But in like New York, you're walking around like your guard is nonstop. You're just like, is someone gonna spit on me? Like
and it's like funny because people are like, well, because I don't drink. And people are always like, how do you like have a party, you don't drink? And it's like, I don't know. And it's like, how do you live in New Orleans and you don't drink? And it's like, but I don't need to because everybody, the party is like the people, I'm intoxicated by the people I'm around. Right. And like I feel their vibe. I'm like off of that. And like that makes me happy and I guess feel drunk. And I guess
my friend Charlie was on the podcast and he's sober, and he was talking about how, and I never thought about it like this. He was like, actually New Orleans is like a good place to be sober because there's so much to do. And I was like, oh, I've never thought about it that way. But like, there's drinking at all of those things, but it's like you could do anything on any day, you know? Like, and there's so many different types of things. Like, so it's interesting.
It's a very interesting concept. You can just, drink in New Orleans. That's what everybody else does. They never leave.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, it can be a hole people fall into for sure.
It is. It's a pretty deep hole, but we make it out of it. But I really do love that when you have an idea, you're like, I'm gonna make this happen. I've seen you do that with this podcast. I've seen you do that with all of your plays, like your play Be in Touch, which I got to help with you on. I guess I got to help you with all the plays.
Yeah.
I feel like there's not a production that you've done that I could not.
You've been a part of everything I've done.
Yeah.
In some way, shape, or form.
Yeah, but like even like with Be in Touch specifically, you were like, no, like I came back home. This place is weird now. Like, I need to talk about it. I need to tell everybody how I'm feeling. And I remember we went around to like film the trailer for it.
Oh yeah.
And we had this. I think about this all the time. The Cafe Du Monde line, and you got in the back and you were like, "There's a line here," and I was like, "Yeah, Mary, I don't know why there's a line here. Like, I haven't been down here in like 3 years, girl. I don't know what's going on."
Oh yeah, there was like a line outside of Cafe Du Monde.
It's there now.
It's it is there now. It's so wild.
I mean, now it makes sense, but before
it's so wild.
And it's like just a shot of you, just like me panning the whole line, and you just going like this,
Yeah.
That's like one of the favorite things I love. But it's just like a story that needs to be told, because we talk all the time about, well, not we as in people from New Orleans, or like me and you talk a lot about the changes the city has gone through and gentrification, and like leaving and being gone away from home for like 4 years. Is you can see it so much. So like, I mean, your play made sense to me then, but it makes even more sense now. Yeah.
So Be in Touch, for people that don't know, it was a play. It was a one-woman show. I was playing Adeline Landry Thibodeau Boudreaux. It was a much longer name than that, but she had a very long Cajun name. And the idea was that it was way, way in the future, and New Orleans was now, all major cities in the world were all planets. And so New Orleans was its own planet. And she was an alien that was working on another planet, aka like in college or something. And she came back to her planet, and the planet was then overrun with new aliens, like aliens that she didn't recognize. And yeah, it was just a commentary on gentrification. Because when I first moved home, like I said, like I came home like ready to build community. I was like, I'm gonna join a roller derby. I'm gonna like join an improv theater. I just like came in rip roaring. I forgot to mention roller derby. Yeah, I mean, I only did that for a blip.
I know.
But
many generations.
2 years. that's a lot though, I guess. But yeah, so I was so eager to like build community as soon as I got home, and I thought it would just be so easy and normal because I had been here my whole life, and suddenly like I came home and I was like, man, it's a lot of stuff I don't recognize. And I think a lot of it was just growing up, but I think a lot of it was that was when we really started seeing the culture start shifting in New Orleans. Like, 8 years ago, it's like Airbnb started getting big. Like,
true.
Like it was long enough after the Super Bowl that like New Orleans was like, it was cool. It was still in like the public discourse. I really feel like winning the Super Bowl in 2010 like made New Orleans this weird comeback kid. Katrina was devastating, but then when we won the Super Bowl, people were like, oh, New Orleans.
Oh yeah, that place.
That place is a place now again,
that
right?
Place. We forgot about it. And we thought it was still under. I had somebody tell me, is it still underwater?
Oh my God, people are so ridiculous.
Get out of my face.
It's been 15 years. It's crazy. At the time, I was about to say, come on, your calculator. But yeah, I came back like ready to just build a life and a community, and I just felt like. I felt like a little bit of an alien. I felt like the weirdo, for a little bit there. And a lot of that was like getting footing, but a lot of that was like noticing the trends, and feeling like I didn't fit in. So
yeah, it's hard to feel that. I'm just gonna cover one more thing before we go on a quick little.
Oh, I love it.
Briggity break.
Yeah.
I love that you said that you came back from the alien planet with so many different aliens, because I feel like the pride that is being a New Orleanian that we all have is like, we are from the like planet of New Orleans.
Right.
We are from the state of New Orleans. There's not a way that you would
you
catch me saying I'm from Louisiana.
Well, I had my dad cut out that sign for the fence. Do you remember? It said New Orleans ain't a city, it's a planet.
Yes.
And it was on there until a couple months ago. He had to take it off because some of the letters got knocked off.
Oh,
but yeah, and that stayed on the fence from my parents' house since Be in Touch in 2014 or whatever year, 2015, whenever I wrote it.
Yeah, you really drove that point home. And is that just like something did you notice that when you came back home? You were like, or was it just something you came up with?
I think that I've always just thought New Orleans was such its own world, because at that point after college I had gone everywhere. In college I really took advantage of being in the Northeast, so I went all up and down the eastern side of America, and then I went to Europe for a month, and like I lived in a couple of other cities. Like I lived in Boston for a little bit, and it was just like so evident to me that like nothing. It's so funny when people tell me they're going to move away. I'm like, good luck. Like, I understand why people live other places, but in my brain, I'm just like, for me, it makes no sense. Mm-hmm. I'm like, there is nowhere else. I've been everywhere, and I can promise you that there's nowhere as cool as this place. But of course, I'm like supposed to be here. You know, like this is my place.
You were drugged back here by your heart.
Yeah, like this is my place. Yes. So it's a planet, man. It's its own little world.
It is.
There's nowhere like it.
It truly is the best place in the world.
And true.
I live somewhere else.
We're a little biased, but it's true.
I'm not biased. I'm an adult. I live in Los Angeles. It's the best place in the world.
That's true. That's true. That's true.
But let's take a little break.
Yes, let's take a little break for a word from our sponsor. This episode of Planet NOLA is brought to you by Vitality Community Fitness. Vitality is a functional training gym located in Metairie, Louisiana. And at Vitality, we focus on members as individuals. That's right. We don't lump people together. We don't assume that everybody has the same goals when they step into our gym. We also don't push things like body ideals or diet culture. We try to focus on the full person, and we try to give an experience that matches that. We've got incredible coaches. We've got an incredible community. And if you're looking for a place to call your new gym home, consider checking us out. We offer a 3 free class trial. That's right. Literally no commitment. You can try 3 of our classes in a week to see if our gym is for you, because ultimately we want people who want to be there. And if it sounds like this might be the space for you, please consider checking us out. You can go to vitalitycommunityfitness.com, click the contact button, and get started.
Hey y'all, welcome back. I'm Donnie Marie, still sitting in Mary Jacobs' spot. I'm here interviewing your fabulous usual host, Mary Jacobs.
That's me.
That's me.
Stolen straight from the Amanda Show.
We love the Amanda Show.
Yeah.
R.I.P. to Amanda.
Yeah, seriously. She's still alive.
She's still alive.
But she's like dead in like the pop culture sense. Yeah.
She's cleaning what she's going to. You know what? That's a dark topic.
Yeah, we could go on that. That's for your podcast, which we'll get into later. Yes. That's definitely for your podcast though.
Dark.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I love Amanda Bynes. Anyway, so we had some fun little chats about Mary being the great artist that she is, the creative person.
I love this.
I'll never let this down.
Dawn regrets this so much.
I do. But but no, I don't regret it, because you do a lot of things, and you need, give your people their flowers while they're still alive and all that.
Thanks, bud.
All that shit. But yeah, no, you are an amazing creative person, and you inspire me to be creative, so I really appreciate it. Yeah, again, so many iterations of Mary that I've known.
It's true. You've known me since I started being a creative person, really.
Yeah.
I mean, like as a teenager, like that's when we really started getting into it. When we're kids, you're playing pretend, but as you start choosing art, your identity starts forming around
Mary and I have also done a lot of the same things together.
Mm-hmm.
Like
yeah.
Both did photography at the same time.
Yeah.
I still do photography.
You still
do
photography, yeah.
I do improv now, but you've done improv before, but we have together in school and outside of school.
Yeah.
So yeah, here's a fun fact about me and Mary Jacobs. Obviously we were in front of each other in line and stuff like that. But for Spirit Week, we did the Wonder Twins, which was very fun.
Oh yeah, we loved that. That was a good one. That was like our bit. Well, because also we were always in classes together too.
Yeah,
we had a lot of classes together, and our hair was the same length. And since you were getting your hair relaxed and I was straightening my hair, our hair looked the same.
Yeah.
Like even though our hair is not the same.
Yeah.
And
we're like similar but different. Like we're like yin and yang each other.
If you're not watching, Dawn's black.
Can't you tell?
Just in case you aren't watching on YouTube.
Okay,
that's why it's funny.
Said it in
that's
the
why
beginning.
we're. Oh, you did? Okay.
Because I said not all black people
right.
look
We
alike.
talked about it, and we talked about
Emily Johnson.
Yeah. Cabrini.
Yes.
Yeah. Anyway.
I'm gonna come out the gate. I'm a black woman.
But that's why it was funny. We were the Wonder Twins.
Yes. But we are similar yet different.
But we really do have so much overlap. Like our interests are so overlap. Like even you getting into like the Muppet stuff, like working with puppets. Dawn recently did a workshop with the Jim Henson Studios. That was so friggin' cool. And like I have just been a long time Muppet lover, and like I would have done that in 2 seconds. And I'm like so happy for you that you got the opportunity to do that.
You could have in audition for it.
I know, but I
sent it to you.
You did send it to me. I feel like I'm just gay. You know what I mean? I'm still a white lady because it was like a diversity program, right?
Yeah, but no, there was only.
I didn't want to be like me, the white lady wants a space.
No, there were other queer white women.
Okay, well, maybe next year.
There was only one straight white man.
Wow, how'd he get in?
Girl, I don't know. There's some speculation. He didn't gonna never watch this podcast, but there's some speculation
Yeah,
about
don't
why
worry.
he got in. And he made a phone call.
He's
like,
somebody's
oh my
son.
God.
He's somebody's son.
No, I think he complained.
Oh,
that's the rumor.
No. Okay, I believe it. Heard it here first.
Heard it here first. He will never.
Yeah, no, he won't.
I think
but yeah, we have so much overlap in our interests. We really do, because we're very similar.
Yeah, we are.
Yeah, for sure.
Mary's just more blunt than I am.
Yeah,
I'm blunt in other ways.
Yeah,
I'm more kind.
Yeah, you're a softer edged version for sure. For sure.
Yes, and I wasn't into ska music.
No, you weren't into ska. You weren't into punk.
I know ska, Mary.
I don't think you would sleep on a floor if someone paid you.
Oh, girl, please.
Yeah.
I'm a little bit more bougie.
Yeah.
Is the problem.
I think everyone needs to know that when I visit Dawn, I sleep in the bed with her. She's always like, "Do you want to sleep on the couch? You want an air mattress?" I'm like, "Nah, I'm gonna sleep in the bed with you."
And I'm like, okay.
I have this thing where I always try to sleep in my friends' beds with. Like, this sounds creepy. I'm not being creepy.
It doesn't bother me though.
No, it doesn't. Like, I would never be like, "Let me in," you know, like. But I remember one time my friend Greta and I were just like having so much fun one night. We were just like drinking and watching Bob's Burgers. And like it was like midnight and I was like, "Greta, can I sleep over?" And she was like, "Yeah." It's like I'm like a woman in her late 20s and I still want to sleep over at my friends' houses.
Oh no, I want to have. I keep telling my friends in LA, like, I'm gonna have a slumber party.
Yeah, there are like parties that will throw slumber parties for you too. Like companies that will throw slumber parties for you. They'll like bring like tents and snacks and they'll set it up. It's
I don't
very
have that much space in my house.
No, yeah. No, they'll do it at like venues too.
Oh,
it's like a whole party now for people.
I love a slumber party.
Me too. I saw a party.
The only reason why Mary sleeps in the same bed as me is annoying is because she woke me up.
Oh yeah.
At 5 a.m.
Yeah. To go to Disneyland.
To go to Disneyland. What song did you play? Did you play the Lion King theme song?
Yeah. Like I had it on full blast. Full blast.
And I promptly looked at her.
And then I went
and rolled over.
And then I played Hakuna Matata.
That's what I remember. I think it was Hakuna Matata. Yes.
Because we were going to Disneyland.
And she cried.
Oh my God, I cried so many times.
She cried. I fell asleep.
And Dawn fell asleep at Disneyland. How could anyone fall asleep at Disneyland that isn't a child?
It was a very soothing ride.
It was a very early day. Yeah, it was. You fell asleep on a ride, which is even funnier.
Like looking through the window, I'm just like,
that ride was. It was like the under the sea ride. So you like were in a submarine surrounded by blue water, and it was like
it was soothing.
It was relaxing. I get it.
No, I mean you're the only person that would be like, yeah, I'll wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, I mean, I sort of bullied you into it, but we had fun.
Yeah, you were like, Dawn, do you want to come? I can go by myself, but you should really.
I know.
Come.
I was straight up like, I think you need to go.
I was like, all right, girl, I guess.
You wanted to go.
I don't know. I had a great time.
Yeah.
I'm not a morning person.
Yeah. You were just mad I woke you up.
I'm so upset.
And I was trying to be there till close, and Dawn was like, "No, we're leaving." And I was like, "All right." We had already written everything.
We wrote everything because we got there so early.
It's true.
Pro tip: go early.
Yeah, you go early. You write everything. We wrote everything, and I was like, "Can we just keep staying?" You're like, "No, we need to leave." And I was like, "Okay, that's fair.
We need to leave." I was like, "I cannot make it."
Yeah, you were
anymore.
tired.
But no, it's fine.
I was just riding on Disney adrenaline, you know?
Yeah, and I was like,
the mouse.
The mouse high.
The mouse energized me.
Snorting that Disney sauce.
Yeah,
That's
seriously.
what she was doing, Riley.
Seriously.
Oh, I woke her up. She's upset. All right.
She's like, how dare you touch me?
How dare you touch me?
She's really not a nice girl. She's
just Swedish.
No.
When she wants to be.
Yeah, no.
She's situational.
Yeah, she's not nice. You're being nice, but she's not nice.
She's
cold and unloving.
No, she's very rude. She's so rude. Look at she don't want me to pet her.
She's like, stop touching me.
But if I don't touch her, she'd be pissed off. All right. I'm sorry.
She likes being ignored sometimes.
She likes it. She likes to ignore us.
Anyway.
Once I leave here, she's going to be so mad. She's going to be upset when I leave. So we are both very, very much very like strong proponents of being from New Orleans.
Yeah.
We love it. We have a love-hate relationship with people that move here.
It's true, says the girl that moved to LA though.
I was like, I'm getting there.
I know.
As a person who is a transplant somewhere else,
I
understand the pain. And so it's also, I told this to my friend the other day. I was like, when people from LA tell me like, oh, that's not LA, and it's like, girl, I'm like, most of the time I'm making jokes. And like that video I posted with all those weird people, like the fashion one, you were like, LA. I was like, LA is so funny, and somebody's like, those people aren't from LA, and it's like, bitch, I know.
Yeah.
And I don't call people bitch, but I'm like, fuck it, it's a joke.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm from a place that is very much transplant city. Like,
I
understand when I'm making a joke.
Like almost no one's from LA though, because it's so big and everyone moves there.
Everyone moves there. So as a person who is a transplant, there is a transplant somewhere else, and I will say that now, not any other time. But we both have a strong like love-hate relationship for transplants. And one thing that I'm pretty sure people who follow this podcast saw was your Mardi Gras costume this year.
I've not really talked about that here much.
We're going to talk about it right now.
Cool.
So what was your inspiration for it?
So my Mardi Gras costume was a jacket that I decorated. It was beautiful. It had fringe.
It was great. It was
a great jacket.
Your crafts?
The crafting of it.
Mary also does crafts.
The crafting of it was pretty good. The
crafting skills have grown.
Thank you. I was really proud of that one. Yeah. But it did just say "Don't move here" on the back.
Yes.
And I wore it all Mardi Gras day, and I was like, "Oh, people are gonna be mad at me," and everyone would pass me like, "That's great," and like I was like making people laugh, and I was like, "Why isn't anyone fighting me?"
But they fought you on the internet, though.
Yeah, I did get fought on the internet a little bit, and it's funny because when I posted about it on the podcast page actually. I wrote in a pretty long caption about why I made the jacket, what it's about, and in the caption I say, obviously, I don't mean don't move here.
Yeah, but also don't.
Yeah, but also could you not
stay home? We closed.
Yeah, we closed. We're full.
We're full. Actually.
But yeah, once again, it's just a conversation of it's a conversation about gentrification, but it's mostly a conversation about community. If you move to a city, any city, I feel like people will often ask themselves, what do I want? Like, I want to live in New Orleans because why? Like, what are the pros and cons of me moving to New Orleans? And I feel like people don't ever think of the place and the people. And and when you move to any city like that, you're not setting yourself up to be in a community. You're just setting yourself up to live somewhere. You could live, to take up space. You could live anywhere.
Yeah.
But being in a community is another thing, And so, I guess like I've been feeling, I feel a little like heartbroken at like the rent and the house. I mean, everyone's having a housing crisis right now, but it like doesn't need to be this way, Like the amount. I was talking to a friend yesterday that said that she has 10 Airbnbs on her street. 10.
Damn.
Yeah, and it's like
blocks in New Orleans for people who are not from here, not that big.
Yeah, that's
all the houses.
That's a lot. It's a lot, and first of all, it's not supposed to be that way. I think it's supposed to be like 3 or something. But of course, the people that make the regulations are sleeping with the people that do Airbnb. Like, and some of them have Airbnbs.
It's money.
Yeah, so I think that's obviously I talk about housing so much on this podcast. I don't want to like harp on it, but it's more than just the housing. It's also just like participating and not just consuming, but also giving and listening.
Yeah,
listening to people.
It's the listening
and getting out of your own defensiveness. The people that fought me on that post. Every time they fought me, they would be like, oh, well, I moved here because X, Y, and Z. And I'm like, I know why people move here. I get...
It's like, first of all, I don't care.
Yeah, like...
Okay.
Like, first of all, who cares? No.
First of all, shut the fuck up.
No. I'm like, yes, once again, though, what you're saying is it's about you.
Yeah.
Like, you moved here for your reasons, which is fine. But I am asking you to think about the big picture of the world you're taking up space in.
Yeah.
And I obviously I get why people move here. We just got done saying we think it's the best city in the whole world.
It is the best city in the world. We don't think we know.
Yeah, exactly. And so I just feel like I want people to be more considerate of it and what's sacred here and what makes it what it is, and like to constantly be making space for that, constantly be making space for the people that make it what it is, and that we're here first.
Yeah.
That we're here first. I mean, and I think that's what transplants have a hard time hearing when they're defensive. Not all transplants. I always have to say this because there's always somebody.
I mean, honestly, if you feel hurt, then it's you.
It's you.
A hit dog on
if your defenses go up when I have this conversation with you, then you're not doing the thing where you've got to think about it a little bit longer, because you can live here and be a participant and make sure that things are safe and protected and valued, and you can know you feel good about it, and the people that get the most offensive are the ones that are literally just like Airbnb half their like Airbnb like 3 houses and just I don't know.
Airbnb houses in New Orleans, but living.
All I talk about is Airbnb because it's such a thing for me. Like I have such a thing about housing because it really breaks my heart. Like what's going on with housing, as someone who still doesn't own a house, so I'm just like, I bring it up so much, but housing is key for communities, especially poor communities, and our city is very poor.
Very poor, very black.
Yes, very poor and very black, and people
don't understand institutionalized racism. They come from the north where they think they're absolved from things.
Yeah, they're like, I know I'm part of the problem. I'm like, no, you don't. Like, you just like,
it's because you're from the north. Don't mean you absolved from being racist.
I know.
Yeah, no, that
I don't know. It's like beating a dead horse for me. I could just go on and on about it.
Yeah, no, it's all very true, and I think the most important thing I took from that, you explaining that, is community. A lot of the times, people move to New Orleans, and like hearing that. When people say like, oh, the Bywater and Marigny is just like a little Brooklyn, and it's like, no, it's New
I haven't
Orleans.
heard that in a while. Yeah,
and it's like, no, that's New Orleans. Girl, when I stayed here,
I think people know that it's not cool to say that anymore. They're like, oh wait, people don't like that.
We don't like it. And like when I stayed here last time, and I stayed at my old boss's house, she let me stay there for a little bit, and I was walking around, I was like, where the hell little black people came from? Yeah, it was wild because I don't.
Dawn, listen to this. The other day, there was a game in the park. I live right by a playground, and the kids were like screaming, and I was like, oh, it got really loud for a second. I was worried something was going on, so I just poked my head out and walked down the street. Well, the game was happening, but I looked to the right down the street. Riley, stop disgusting. You're embarrassing yourself.
Shh, you're embarrassing your moms.
Anyway, so I went outside and I checked, and the game was just getting loud, but I looked to the right down my street, and I kid you not, there were 5 pedestrians, separate pedestrians, just like on my street. There was like a lady walking her dog. There was like a guy and his son in the park. There was another guy like just stretching in the park. The little girl down the street was on the corner like standing, just hanging out. And I was like, I've never looked out my front door and seen so many people. And it was mostly black people, so it wasn't like a moment of like white people, but I was just shocked. I was like, my neighborhood is like a neighborhood again. And it hasn't felt like that in a long time.
Yeah, because a lot of people that I feel like after Storm are like same for the East and Gentilly. I feel like that since they were big black neighborhoods that people that owned houses in, if they moved somewhere else, they can afford to just buy a house in that place and stay there.
Right.
So that's a lot. So I get to see it come back. That's really good though.
Yeah, we do have a lot of black homeowners in Gentilly for sure.
Good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think
good
so.
It's like making a resurgence.
Well, I think what's happening is that people aren't able to buy in any other neighborhood, and Gentilly is.
Sure. Girl, sometimes houses Gentilly cost. Stop it.
They're crazy. It's crazy. Yeah. I know. Yeah, you're preaching to the choir.
And it's just like building. So to get back to like building community and wanting to have Sorry. That's okay. To get back to building community and wanting to have community, I think that's something very important that people that move here need to know about because. The community that I had when I lived here, it was very hard for me to find somewhere else. And it's like, it can be hard to infiltrate other people's community, but like I care enough about the neighborhood I live in to like
know your neighbors,
to know my neighbors and stuff like that. And it's like I feel like when people move here, they don't do that, and it's like they want the magic of New Orleans without the work. Like you have to walk. I mean, you have to walk down the street. You have to say good morning to everybody you see. You have to say hello.
Yeah, I wish people would be more curious, like just genuinely more curious about people that they meet in the city and like who they can learn from. And that's like why I do this podcast. Genuinely is because it gives people the opportunity to get to know people in the community, making the community better and making the community what it is,
Yeah. Like culture bearers.
Yeah, culture. I say culture bearers so much on this podcast. I say it like about everyone because I say it about my friend Greta, who's a bartender. Like I think so many people are culture bearers in this city,
I mean, a lot of people are, especially if you are from here and you're using your influence of being a New Orleanian, like that's who you are, and you are keeping that culture and keeping it going.
Yeah. We got personality.
Me too. Is that the only reason you do this podcast?
Well, I mean, that's like the bigger picture. The bigger picture of Planet NOLA is, and it's so funny, Planet NOLA comes from Be in Touch.
I know.
Yeah, but I didn't explain that. So
explain it now.
Yeah. Okay, so Planet NOLA is the name of the podcast, obviously, which you probably put together when I was talking about the play a minute ago, but I named the podcast Planet NOLA because that was what I got from Be in Touch, because New Orleans is its own planet.
It's also the same theme song.
Same theme song, yeah. Glish, Legs in Space. We used it. We did use it for the play. Yeah, I forgot about that. Oh my gosh. It's just a good outer spacey sounding song, you know? Yeah.
It's about...
So I feel like I know a lot of cool people. And literally, like what I was saying a second ago, it's like I do just want to brag on people. I just want people that I think are really cool for other people to think they're really cool and to know about them. Because there's like not like there's a reason why I'm not talking to like huge NOLA celebrities, you know. There's a reason why I'm talking to like my friend that works in infrastructure, you know, like my friends that are in like the small bands, my friends that are bartenders, because like I think those are the real people that make the city so cool and interesting and keep it held up, you know. And making a big deal of that is important and fun, and the more I can talk to cool people, the more people are gonna like remember like, oh, I should go support my local bar, you know, or whatever.
And it's like the people of sorry, I'm like rubbing my nose. It sounds nasty. It's the people of New Orleans what makes New Orleans. The people like, oh yeah, I go to New Orleans, it's like a party and like people come to go get drunk and all that. You know, that's all fine and dandy.
Yeah.
It pays the bills.
People that come to New Orleans and just like go party in the quarter and get drunk. I'm like, you guys haven't come to New Orleans, but I kind of like lately. I'm like, okay, cool. If that's what New Orleans is for tourists, I would like it to just stay that.
Oh yeah, it's infiltrating. It's infiltrating into everywhere else.
Everywhere in the city is tourist town.
It's very strange. But yeah, like it's the people of New Orleans that makes New Orleans what it is. That makes it like the place that people love to come to. That makes it the best city in the world, and it's like beautiful in all of its many ways, even though the look of it has changed dramatically in the past 4 years that I've been gone. For sure, I come back home like, where am I at? But it's the people, and that's who make it, and that's who drive culture in New Orleans, and I think that's something people like transplants forget when they move here.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, you should be curious about the people in your community.
Yeah, you should go speak to the old man down the street, the old dudes on the neutral ground that's playing checkers there every day. You go talk to them. Like, you speak to them, you talk to them. You know, you don't have to like.
Or just say hello.
Just say hello.
Yeah.
You know, just
introduce
say, hey,
yourself to people when you see them in your neighborhood.
Yeah, introduce yourself to people when you walk into a room. I went to the DMV in the East one time. I had to get my license renewed. 8:00 in the morning. We all sitting there as quiet. This man walk in the door and he goes, good morning. Nobody says
Everyone does this in New Orleans.
He says nothing. No one says anything. He goes, I said good morning.
Good morning.
And everybody went good morning, like he was in school or something.
Yeah.
Like, and it's like, it's like that's what you're supposed to do. Like when I walk around LA with my friends go, I forget you're so kind. Like, you were so kind and you speak to everyone. I'm always like, oh girl, you look cute, or like, hey, how you doing? And like it throws my neighbors out there.
When
like,
Kristen and I travel, we like blow people's minds. It's so funny because Kristen's even more gregarious than me. She's like way more charming, you know? And it's like we go to get coffee when we're traveling or something, and people will be like taken aback by how friendly we are. Yeah. Because it's like normal. You should be friendly.
You should be friendly. It's in my soul. Like, New Orleans is one of the kindest
We get a lot
places.
of free drinks when we travel.
I get so much free stuff sometimes.
Yeah, because people are like, oh my God, you want another shot or whatever? And I'm like, yeah, I do.
Like, yeah, of course. Me and my girlfriend are cute.
We also have that gay thing where people are like, I am so proud that I'm not judging those dykes.
Like, oh my God. Like, oh my God, look at me.
Look at me being liberal. I'm an ally to the gays.
To the gays. You know, the he, she's, and they.
Yeah. I know what non-binary means.
Did you know?
Gender is a social construct.
Oh
Anyway.
My goodness.
We get all of that.
Not too many bits.
Yeah, we get a lot of that. You
gotta control the bits, Mary.
I can do so many bits. Oh my God, bits on bits on bits. But we do get a lot of that. We get a lot of people that are like, you know.
Yeah, and I think that's what's important about New Orleans. And I'm glad you're doing this podcast to talk to people that are here and to, you know, give a voice to people, because sometimes it's always about, you know, it's always about, shout out to Trombone Shorty, but it's always about Trombone Shorty. It's always about, I mean, you know, all
talented, but I'm also tired of it. You know, another thing I just thought of, a big part of this podcast, and I think part of how I participate in community is like connecting people. Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't know, like somebody does something that you know another friend's interested in, you connect them, you know, like I had a friend in the shop. Two friends in the shop yesterday. They didn't know each other. And the one friend is trying to like get into a program at a school that the other person in the shop is in. I was like, oh, hey, this person goes to that school and is in that program. You two should talk. And they're like, oh my God. And like, even if that person wasn't happened to be in the room, I would have made it a point to be like, you should reach out to my friend. I have a friend doing that. And it's like, that's building community, is like connecting people together. And I love that stuff.
Yeah, that's the difference between here and LA. Like, here you can like,
they don't want to give you their contacts. They don't want to give you
up. And then it's like you have to schmooze to do it. I hate schmoozing.
I hate schmoozing.
This is why I'm bad at networking.
It's so phony.
It's so funny. But like here, like people are connecting because they genuinely care. And like, I can't do anything for anybody in LA. I have no pull.
Yeah.
I mean, I work at a gift company.
Yeah.
I don't know what you want me to do.
Yeah.
I guess I can get you a gift maker. I can tell you how to do it.
Yeah,
you know, that's about it. But you know, that's not fancy.
I love introducing people and being like, Dawn, this is Carrie. Carrie, Dawn speaks French. Carrie speaks French. You two both speak French. And then I just like walk away.
And that's like the New Orleans way to do it. Be like, you know my little cousin, nephew, sister. She does that. She know how to do that. You ever met her? And it's like, no.
Well, you should.
You should meet her. What's her name? What's her number? Let me call her mama right now.
And now with Instagram, it's like, oh, let me send you their Instagram. Like, I love those kinds of moments. Yeah. And that's community building. Like,
it's much more.
Some people think of it as networking, but I think of it as community building.
I think in other places it's networking.
Yeah.
Here it's much more genuine because people actually care.
Yeah, I just want everybody to live their best life and get them where they need to go.
As you should.
And you pull people up as you go, and they pull you up. You know.
Yeah, it's a mentality we all need to take forward. And I love you for that.
Yeah, thank you, buddy. I really appreciate you doing this.
Good job.
Yeah.
Oh, you're welcome, girl. Me talk what?
Dawn, do you want to tell us a little bit about your podcast before we get out of here?
Yeah, sure. So I can tell you. I'll tell you a little about my podcast. My podcast is called Living Swindled. Mm-hmm. I'm a podcast host, if you could not tell. My podcast is called Living Swindled. It's about television, my relation to it, and how television has lied to me about adulthood.
Yeah.
And so I go through I use different episodes and just do different themes. The first theme was about dating, but specifically the amount of dates people go on TV shows. The second episode is about representation. The episode Mary and I are supposed to do is going to be about feminism. I'm
going to talk about Boy Meets World a lot because Topanga was my feminist TV awakening.
I've only seen one episode of Boy Meets World in my life.
Really? Well, I'll tell you all about Topanga.
I know you love Boy Meets World.
She's a feminist icon, Topanga. Could talk about it forever.
Didn't she not go to college because Corey didn't go?
No, she went to his college. She didn't go to a great college, but they wound up married and with kids and a spinoff show.
Okay, I'm sorry. Wow.
I can't believe you just disrespected Topanga like that. Anyway, we can get into it on your podcast. Yes,
but that's what my podcast is about. You should listen to it. It's Living Swindled at Living Swindled on all the socials. But yeah, it's like really fun, and I talk to my friends about TV, and because I love scams.
You love what?
Scams.
And
TV is a scam.
You think TV is a scam?
It is a scam.
Yeah.
You know how many things it's lied to you about? Everything.
That's true. TV, I feel like I was a little bit raised by TV though. Like I feel like
all of my
like I feel like all of my morals come from TV, like Boy Meets World specifically.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'll be watching an episode and I'm like, oh, that's where that came from.
Yeah. No, all the time.
I'll be thinking that it's like Catholicism, and then I'm like, nah, it was Boy Meets World.
Yeah, it's TV. Yeah, it's always TV. I'm like, oh, I learned that from Fresh Prince. Oh, I learned that from Mr.
Feeney.
Exactly. Oh, I learned that from Lisa on Sister. Like that's where anything I know about adulthood or about life in general comes from television.
Yeah, that's what's up.
It's
it's good. I've listened to the first episode. I haven't looked. Is the representation episode out?
I just put it up today.
Okay, cool. We'll listen to that one next.
By the time this comes out, it'll be up.
So check out Living Swindled, y'all.
Yes.
Dawn is an incredibly talented woman, and anything she does is great.
Oh my God, thanks.
Love you, buddy.
I love you too.
This has been so fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, we could talk for hours more.
we could. Then Mary would get too much into my personal life, and we don't have time for that.
I know. Dawn loves talking about her personal life. She doesn't shut up about it.
I don't shut up about it. I do shut up about it. Mary's just nosy. But Mary, it has been a joy interviewing you on your own podcast. Everyone, listen to Planet NOLA. It's great. Mary is interviewing everyone from around the city.
Listen to Living Swindled. This has been Planet NOLA. Thank you to everyone that listens.
Yeah.
Like, subscribe, leave us a review, and I'll send you a sticker. Thank you to my producer, Carrie, and y'all be in touch.
Be in touch, peeps.
Thank you again to this episode's guest. Planet NOLA is produced by Carrie Mulder and Mary Jacobs. If you liked what you heard here, please consider subscribing to us on YouTube or all your social media platforms and pretty much anywhere you get podcasts. Also, if you really, really liked this episode, think about subscribing to our Patreon, where we have tons of bonus content from this episode and more. Starts at just $5 a month, and it would mean the world to us. Thanks so much, y'all, and be in touch.